Hello, 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 hello. Yeah, it's October Akbesori once again, and today I want to talk about the six components of a non-profit strategic plan. I wrote extensively on this topic yesterday, but I felt I should come on live again to reinforce on this very important topic. I felt I should come here, to talk about this topic, connect with you, and provide you an opportunity to ask me, any mind-boggling question you feel you want to ask about strategic planning. But today, I'll go straight to the six important components of a non-profit strategic plan. The very first component of a non-profit strategic plan is the organizational profile. The organizational profile simply defines the vision, the mission, the goals, objectives, core values, and ethics of the organization. An organizational profile is developed through a meeting where the board comes together, to review the mission of the organization and then create a shared vision among the board members. Creating a shared vision during strategic planning is really important because you want people to commit to the plan when during implementation. So it's very important they feel an ownership of the plan, and creating a shared vision is the platform for doing that. So after that activity where you review your mission together with your board and create a shared vision, the result of it is supposed to be an organizational profile that states the shared vision of the organization, the mission, the goals, the objectives, and the core values and ethics of the organization. So yeah, that's the first. The first is your organizational profile. Now, the second and important part of the strategic plan is the community profile. Community profile is simply a definition of the community you serve, the needs or the challenges these communities are facing, and the resources or assets available within this community to meet that need. Community profile is basically describing the people your impact serve, describing their needs, describing the solution that can help you meet this need. A community profile is created through a community needs assessment. You can do a community need assessment by studying online journals about the community, studying historical materials about the community, collecting live data from the community. There are different ways to go about community needs assessment. This could even include interviewing key stakeholders, collecting data through surveys and polls. All these are ways to go about community needs assessment, but you don't want to just go about assuming. You have to clearly define the community for what it is, and that involves you really studying the community, and that's what community needs assessment is. So like you see, the result of a community needs assessment is the community profile that clearly defines the community you want to serve and how you want to go about serving these people. Now, the third part of a strategic plan is the strategic goals. Now, during community needs assessment, when collecting data, you begin to see some patterns in this data. You begin to see some pressing needs, some underlying problems to most of the needs within the communities. Your strategic goals are basically goals that, when achieved, will help you meet these needs, these patterns you've seen within the community. So you want to create 3 to 5 of these goals. Let's say, for example, you're working within the education niche and you've seen that the major reason for poor education is, poor parenting. So let's say, achieving, educating parents could be one strategic goal, right? And that could now go down, and then you can develop programs under it. But before programs, so the strategic goal is simply goals that, when achieved, will move the needle for the community you serve. So strategic goals are very important, and that's the third part of the strategic plan. strategic goals. Those patterns you see, those key underlying needs you see within the community, your strategic goals are basically goals, 3 to 5 of them, that when achieved will help you, meet those needs you've identified during your community needs assessment. Now, the fourth part of the strategic plan is the programs. Now, you've identified goals. How do you achieve these goals? Programs are basically these action steps to help you achieve your strategic goals. So, for example, if educating parents would be one strategic goal, any program that's designed towards educating parents is a program to help you achieve that goal. So your programs are developed around your strategic goals. One program can help you achieve 1 or 2 strategic goals depending on how strategic you are about your program development. But program development is simply the step or action steps that help you achieve your strategic goals. So now the fourth part of it is the program development, and once you're done with that, you can now proceed to the budget, which is the fifth part of the strategic plan. But before I did go into the budget, I'll advise you to spell out some requirements you need to make your programs and your strategic goals work. This could be, I think I shouldn't take you down that path, but go down now, define the budgets you need to make your programs and your organization work. Your budget to cover your organization expenses. It should also cover the needs, the resources you need to implement your programs. So when you're done with developing your budget, don't worry, I'll take you to where you develop the resources you need. Let's leave that for now so you don't get it complicated. So once you've developed the budget, you now have a working figure. Let's say your working figure is $100,000. How then do you raise this figure? This is where you now have to develop a fundraising and partnership plan that helps you achieve your budget or your working figure. Because let's say, for example, you have a budget of $100,000. You need some real strategic funding and partnership plan to be able to achieve such a founding goal. So to an extent, having a working figure is really important because it guides the intensity of your fundraising activity. Because if you're looking for $1,000, you wouldn't want to use the same strategy for your $100,000. So having a working figure and a budget is critical, and it can never be underrated. So with that stated, then you can now proceed to say, okay, what resources, what structures, and what systems do we need to power this strategic plan? Resources could include handbooks, it could include marketing materials, it could include logos, it could include program flyers, program portfolios. It could include a lot of resources you may need to generate to make your strategic plan work. You have to define them. Then the structures you need to make your program work. It could be a bank account, it could be a fundraising page, it could be a social media account, it could be a website, it could be any of the platforms you need to make your program work. These are basic structures that you must put in place to help your program. So you have to define them. Even an office space is a structure. A bank account is a structure. So also systems you have to put in place. Systems could include donation systems, donation pathways, marketing funnels. These are systems that have to be in place to help you power your strategic plan. You have to also define them. Once you're done defining them, then you go ahead to create those resources, program structures and systems, put them in place. Then you can now begin to implement your strategic plan. So like I told you, there are 6 components of a strategic plan. 1, it is the organizational profile. 2 is the community profile. 3 is the strategic goals. 4 is the programs. 5 is the budget you need to achieve the plan. 6 is the funding and partnership plan. And then you can now include 7, which is the resources, processes,